privileged and pleased to welcome Professor Rajiv Kumar, Member Secretary, All India Council for Technical Education. May I request sir to please come and give his keynote address. Welcome, sir. Can we have a round of applause for Professor Rajiv Kumar?
Thank you, madam. First of all, good morning to each and everyone. I can see a galaxy of dignitaries from educational institutions and as well as edtech companies here. I think this is the great platform where we can discuss, disseminate, and what best practices we are doing at our institutions, and what are the technologies available in the edtech market. And this is the great platform. I will thank organizers, Ravi Gupta particularly, for organizing this a meeting or a conference on such an important topic. Now my role here is what national education policy and what as a regulator of technical education in the country, what we are doing. My idea to attend this conference was just to share all such things with the dignitaries, those who are available here. Now, as we know that this national education policy and this pandemic, they have opened new gates, new avenues, new normals of education, not in the country, but the worldwide. And I will thank the academia that they have adopted all such new normals without having any adequate training of these technologies. So they deserve a great appreciation. Our academicians, our faculty, our students, they deserve great appreciation for adopting these technologies and normals without having any formal technology. Now, if you see during this pandemic, a lot of technological invention has been done, lot of platforms have been developed, lot of resource material in various forms. It is available in the market nowadays. Now we realized and we created a platform at AICTE from the ministry side, that is National Educational Alliance for Technology. That is a platform where all edtech companies, we invited them. And the important part of that platform was that you can sell your product through this platform. Only important thing is that whenever 4 products you are selling, 5th product that is generated free of cost, and it is going to the AICTE, and in turn, AICTE is giving this product to the deserving candidates, those who cannot afford such products. So that was the motive of starting that National Educational Alliance for Technology. 2 times we have advertised, and now large number of edtech companies, they are available, their products are available, and 3 days back, we gave an advertisement. We have around 12 lakhs free coupons with us. 12 lakh free coupons with us, and 3 days back, we gave an advertisement. We asked students, please apply for these free coupons, and in time to come, within 10 or 15 days, we are going to allot all these 12 lakhs 15 coupons to our students, those who cannot afford. That was the main idea. And all these edtech companies, we have not just added all these products on our portal, we have reviewed all such products. There was three layers of reviewing all such products. And almost 60% products they were selected, 40% they were not selected. They were our experts. There large number of experts, they were involved in reviewing all such products. And the companies which are there, they got wide coverage because we have a coverage of around 10,500 colleges. They are associated with us. We are regulating them. And definitely it has given advantage to our students also. Now, whatever available in the market, they know they can visit our portal, they can see and they can choose the product of their choice from that portal. So that was the initiative taken by the AICTE in last 1.5 year. And that idea also came during the pandemic. Some of the companies, edtech companies, they were willing to sell, give these products free of cost through this pandemic. And that portal helped us a lot to take these initiative of the companies, edtech companies, to the masses. So that was another initiative taken by AICTE. Now, a week back, I think 3 or 4 days back, we started another initiative. I am sharing because most of the executives and experts, they are available, they are listening this, attending this workshop. That is a unique type of initiative, volunteerism, okay? We have created a portal. If you have some time and you know that one school or one college is in the nearby area where you are staying, and you can give whatever expertise you have, you can share that expertise with the students of that college. But there was a missing link, how to connect with the college, how to connect with the school. Not only in the college, we can connect to the schools also. So we have created a portal, Vidyanjali portal for higher education. And the idea is to take this portal to all school level. So that portal we are going to launch, I think by Monday we are going to launch that portal. So in which, if you want to do volunteerism, you can enroll. We have also requested colleges what type of help you need from the society, from the experts. So we are trying to connect our educational institutions with the expertise available in the nearby areas, and people have time, they can spare time. We know people are coming to us that we want to use our expertise, industrial expertise, industry expertise with our students to make them good entrepreneur, right? So, but they don't find any connect with the institutions. That connect is missing. So that's why we have created that portal. I will request Rajat ji, please go through that portal and give suggestions, because this is in the learning stage, this is in the developing stage, and all of you, if you can give your suggestions, you visit that portal, we will definitely incorporate all suggestions, and the ultimate goal is to take such initiative to the masses. So whatever we have, whatever is available in the country, we can give to our students. That is the main motive. Another thing, what we have done at the AICTE, that we have revised the curriculum. That initiative, Professor Rajat is sitting here, he helped us a lot. He connected, he discussed all these curriculum in computer science, basically, if you see, with the industry people. And lot of, I think, industry people, they were also available in developing curriculums of the different disciplines, right? So this is how we can, we could come out with a very nice curriculum which is at par with the requirement of the industry, which is in line with the international standards. All such things, they are there in the curriculum. And the best part is that we don't want that our students all the time they should sit in the classes. Basic aim is that we want to bring our students out of the classes so they can think differently. They can explore whatsoever they have there in their mind, they can explore. This is the idea of developing this new curriculum, and I am happy to share that most of the universities in the country, they have adopted that curriculum, what we have. And important thing is that we are not imposing this curriculum. That is a model curriculum. Every institute, every university is free to make changes as per their expertise available in the institute, or as per the need of the region, whatever they want to do, they can make changes in the curriculum. That freedom is available with the institutes and with the industry. Another important initiative what AICTE has recently taken, that we made a perspective plan of the technical education in the country. And that that was the first initiative taken in the higher education, particularly in the technical education. And the committee that was headed by Professor Dr. B.V.R. Mohan Reddy, who is the chairman of IIT Hyderabad, and he's a industrialist also, renowned industrialist in the country. And all industrial bodies, you take name, they were the part of that committee, and they gave us a report that in the country we should not start any technical institution in the traditional area. We immediately accepted their recommendation, and another part of the recommendation was that if some college wants to start technical institution, they should start in the thrust areas. They identified some thrust areas. Basically, they are from the, we all know AI, robotics, IoT, 3D printing, augmented reality, virtual reality. So all such this type of areas, they identified 9 thrust areas at that time. Then we made another committee, then they identified another thrust areas in another disciplines also. So recommendation was that we should start engineering colleges only in thrust areas. So we accepted, and we have not giving approvals for the last 2 years for starting new colleges in the traditional areas, only in the thrust areas. Then the 2 years times that was over. This year we again gave the task to the same committee, and committee examined that trends and the vacancies and all such things, requirement of the industry, and they gave interim report that was placed in the parliament also. That was a parliament question 3 or 4 days back also. They said that we should continue with this type of thing for 1 more year. So this year also we are not going to give approval for new engineering colleges in traditional areas, but it is open for the thrust areas. So somebody wants to start courses in the thrust areas as per the requirement of the industry, we are not stopping them. Another thing was that once the committee gave the recommendation, we put that recommendation before the committee of the experts, academic experts. I think Professor Rajat, you was there, the part of the committee. That committee said that starting 4 years program in thrust areas, like starting 4 years BTech program in IoT or starting 4-year program in data sciences will not be a feasible thing. So what AICT should do, that they should give they should start a concept of minors. So a student can get degree with specialization in particular thrust area, like computer science, minor in or specialization in, say, IoT. So this type of suggestion was given by the committee of experts, and they also gave that 4-year BTech program can be started in AI and data sciences. So that was also accepted. So this was the some background what we are doing and preparing the prospective plan of the technical education. Another thing was, we have taken the decision that we will give approvals only in the thrust areas. But the immediate problem was that who will teach these thrust areas? Our faculty was not trained at all, because the faculty, those who are teaching in the colleges, they took their degree, say 15 years back, 20 years back. At that time, they were not knowing about these technologies, new technologies. So our task was to train faculty in these thrust areas. So we took this challenge. We started teaching, training faculties, and we took help of the institution like IIT. We took help of the institution like NITs. We took the help of the industry also. So we started conducting faculty development programs in the thrust areas. And I'm happy to share that these programs, they are so popular. And first year, we conducted that programs in the offline mode, so we could train only 10,000 faculty. Also, we were not all, we were also not having the expertise that who will teach them. So after 1 year, we started all such programs in the online mode, using that with the help of the technology. And the best expert, not only from the India, but from the foreign countries, they were part in the faculty development programs, and they conducted all such faculty programs. And in the second year, we could train 1,50,000 faculty members in the thirst areas. That was a tremendous jump, and that achievement was recognized by World Book Record, and AICTE was awarded. A certificate was given to AICTE at that time. Second year, now the current year, next year we could train 1,80,000 faculty members. Again, World Book Record, they gave certification to us. And this year we have targeted, now we have expanded our horizon, and now we are conducting faculty development programs in all thrust areas, whether these 9 identified areas or other thrust areas. So we are conducting faculty development programs in all thrust areas. So that was the immediate task we have taken. Another thing was that industry is always talking about that most of the graduates, those who are coming out from the engineering colleges, they are not employable. Thank you. They are not employable. Although they are getting very good marks in their examination, they are getting good marks, but they are not employable. So we made another committee, and that committee prepared a examination reform report. How we can make reforms in our examination system. The report, basically, it was based on the Bloom's technology. Those who are aware of this Bloom's theory. And if you remember, there are 6 levels in the Bloom's technology. In most of the questions, we took the questions, our committee, they reviewed the question papers given in IITs. And they found that the most of the papers in the most of the universities, maximum part is at from the bottom level, that is the remembrance of the Bloom's taxonomy. So they gave suggestions that how to prepare the question papers as per the Bloom's taxonomy. But giving suggestion, coming out of a report, that is a very simple thing, I can think. So important thing is that how to set the question paper based on the Bloom's taxonomy. So we immediately requested our experts to prepare a question bank based on the Bloom's taxonomy. So that question bank, we are preparing large question banks. It is available presently on our website, and we are enriching it, this question bank, day by day. We are requesting. So all such initiatives, they are going parallelly. Apart from them, we are also giving freedom. Last time, there was a lot of hue and cry in the media that a student having non-mathematical background or not having physics can enter into the engineering stream. So a lot of hue and cry in the media was there. But that was just sake of the media. It is not like that. We have given an opportunity, because I would like to share one thing. In AICTE, we are getting requests from the student. A student having say, chemistry and biology. He gave NEET, but unfortunately he could not get the admission in any of the good medical college of the country. So he was interested to take admission in the biomedicals. So because due to the rigid boundaries of regulations, he was denied admission in biomedical. So that was the case. That's a simple example. Another case I would like to share, that a student has done his +2 in agriculture, right? And he wants to pursue his agriculture engineering. We are denying it. So our boundaries were very rigid. So we have just rigidness we have removed from these boundaries. We are not saying that mathematics is not required. We are not saying chemistry is not required. it is very much required, but they have to do the bridge courses. Bridge courses we have proposed, and this system is prevailing worldwide. Only just because of the rigid boundaries, these talented students, those who having interest, they are denied. So similarly, recently, I think 1 month back, we got a request from the Manipal University. These are very interesting cases. You learn all such things when you are there in the AICT. A very bright student who has done marvelous in the this cyber security. He wants to pursue his BTech in computer science. He has not given any examination, right? So these are the talented one, gifted childs these are, you can say. But due to this, our boundaries, because he has not appeared in any of the JE or any of the examination, we denied him. But his competencies have been proved. They have been proved in various forums, various competitions. So we should encourage such type of students. So our council considered his case. We said, you admit this student as a special case. And now, for such gifted students, we are making a policy. A committee is working how we can help such gifted students, those they can, so that they can enter in the technical education. So these are the things they are happening. We are taking each and every point very sensitively. We are discussing it. We are taking experts' opinion in all such directions before coming to some conclusion. And that's how we are able to make some changes in our policy and our approvals that is going on at the AICT level. And I hope we will continue to get the supports from the organization, from ELETs and other educational institutions, those who are present here, other edtech companies are here. Our ultimate aim is just how best we can deliver, or how best thing we can offer to our students. This is the ultimate aim of present this government or our government. This is the present, this is the main goal. And I hope with the help of our stakeholders, with our colleges, with our students, so also we have identified so many places like, you know the Atal Tunnel. It is a marvelous of the technology, right? Our Honorable Prime Minister requested that colleges, we should take students to that colleges. At least they can see what marvel our engineers has done at the Atal Tunnel. So we framed a scheme immediately. We said that we will fund the students also. We are sending from a college, 10 students, they can go with a teacher, and the whole trip is funded by us. And the BRO at Atal Tunnel, they have made arrangements for their visit, for their presentation. So now what happened, because we have initiated this thing, large number of students, they are visiting Atal Tunnel. Then 3 days or 4 days back, we got a request from BRO, just please stop this thing because we are not able to handle, because they have their difficulties, there are large number of difficulties at a place like Atal Tunnel. So if large number of students, they are going same day or continuously, it is creating difficulty for these gentlemen. So they requested for the some time you give just halt, because the weather is also not conducive at present. So we have requested our colleges, please don't send children, our students to Atal Tunnel during this time. Now then we identified around 80 places of similar kinds in our country where these students, they should be taken, they can visit. And we have requested the management of these 80 places that they should facilitate students whenever they are visiting as a part of the delegation of a college. You should depute some guide or some person so he can tell them about the important things in that place. So such small things we are doing. Apart from that, we are supporting students in terms of fellowship. Those who lost their parents during this pandemic, we are supporting them. We are supporting our girls also. So we are supporting around 10,000 girls per year. So that means 40,000 girls, they are at a time taking scholarship, and we are paying 50,000 per annum to girls, right? Similarly, girls from Jammu and Kashmir, northeastern state, all girls, they are eligible for these scholarships. So we want to increase the participation of girls in technical education. So this is how we are supporting our students, we are supporting our faculty, we are supporting our institutions also. Uh, we are taking help of the industry in all such initiatives, and I hope in time to come, or we will continue to receive this type of help from all our institutions, from all our industry experts, industry, and from the society also. So with all these words, I stop myself, and if you have anything to ask me, you are please don't hesitate, you ask freely. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much for giving in a detail and initiative about AICT. Any questions or comments like anyone has, or any suggestions, any inputs for Professor Rajiv Kumar, Member Secretary AICT? I think there is none, but I will still request Dr. Rajat Muna ji to come on the stage, please. Sir. So, not requesting, but ordering him to give some comments now. Sir,
Oh, I was not prepared for this. But anyway, it was wonderful to hear Rajiv ji. But I must also say this, that in last few years, AICT has actually taken great initiatives, you know, in improving the structures of the programs in various engineering colleges. I remember there was a time when we all actually had this worry that there are so many institutions where students are not even taking admissions, and they're like, AICT has so many engineering seats and all that, and yet on the other hand, we actually keep hearing that people are not able to get engineering education, okay? And so many engineering seats were getting unfilled. AICT actually took a very proactive role and tried to figure out, you know, try to normalize the curriculums, try to normalize the programs, close the programs which are not productive, create the programs which will actually have the market demand. This is something which is actually unheard of in a regulatory body like AICT, and Rajiv ji actually talked about, and this committee recommendation that he talked about, saying that we should actually look at emerging areas and have colleges in that, because that is, in our opinion, a game changer for the country. We should be probably able to do things like which nobody has been able to do in the world, okay? Including things like, you know, I mean, we all actually know about success mantra that industry and education gave, and India became an IT hub, okay? Can we actually do a similar thing for education? India was the education hub. When we were talking of Nalanda and Takshila and all that, everybody from all over the world actually came and took education here. Can we do the same thing? And that, I think, is the seed that AICT has now planted. We hopefully will see the banyan tree coming up very soon, Bodhi tree. And I think with the initiatives that AICT has taken and the things that are happening now, we probably will again take our rightful space in the education. Thank you.
great. Thank you, sir. I will request you to have a seat here. And let me invite some of the prominent speakers who are here. Let me invite on stage Professor Jamshed Bharucha, who is the founding VC of Shri Sai University, here on the stage. Welcome, sir. Let me invite Professor Sanjay Gupta ji, who is a VC of Ward University of Design, and Professor Atul Khosla, founder and VC of Shulli University, Solan. Just requesting them to be on the stage, and we also have with us VC of PDM University, Professor A.K. Bakshi ji. He's also here in the room, so may I invite him to the stage. So it's an honor that AICT member secretary is here with us. So I thought it's a good idea if we have all our eminent people who are here on the stage. So it's a prompto invite which I have like given to all the speakers here. So just requesting each of them to briefly talk about some of the regulatory issues and points which have been raised by Professor Rajiv Kumar under the AICT. Like a lot of reforms have happened in the last 5 years. So brief inputs and suggestions from each of you or feedback would be really good as an outcome of like this session. So requesting like we can proceed from here to that side, right?
I think, thank you, Raviji. This is a good opportunity because design has its own, it's a new addition to the mainstream university education. And the regulations and regulatory framework is still forming, right? So I thought I can offhand remember a few things. You see, let's say admission to MBA can be done at the, after a 3 years arts degree, science degree, or even in 4-year engineering degree, or a 5-year architecture or a medicine degree, because MBA is seen to be a topping on that and a end of the line degree kind of a thing. We have a Masters of Design, where again the entrance can come from arts background, a science background, a lawyer or electrical engineer or anybody, but then the entrance regulation for some reason has been put as a 4-year bachelor's. No logic is foreseen. It is very similar to an MBA degree because we are adding a design appreciation understanding to everybody who may be arts scholar or somebody. And so I'm just, this is one of the regulatory thing. There's another, anyway, you thought you want to respond to that? No, no, okay. Again, I think it was an issue raised in our session, is that there are education universities and there are research universities. Now, in most of the creative streams, including architecture, masters before 10 years before was unheard of. Most of the Council of Architecture, for example, never used to promote masters. They were promoting only an undergraduate program in this because then the person becomes proficient enough to practice his art, right? The masters and PhD programs are seen only as a education, those who go and become teachers for them required. Now the various kind of eligibility conditions applied for design faculty, which covers all of these visual arts and architecture and design, to do masters as well as PhDs is a rather far-fetched, because if they were research-oriented, they would not have come into design. Design is more focused on creative outcomes, and PhD by practice is not recognized. So how do we resolve these issues?
Hello. You have raised a very valid question. Just I will give you the background of this design issue. If you look at 5 years back, this design was not a part of the AICTE. So we realized this importance of this design course, and we created an academic board in AICTE, Applied Art, Crafts and Design Board. So
Are there designers in it?
Huh?
Are the designers part of the board?
Yes, yes, they are part of the board.
Okay.
Now, as far as design is concerned, we took help of the IIT Bombay, right? IIT Bombay was the mentor institution. They guided us. We framed policies. And even you raised the issue of MDES. These students, those who are clearing the test conducted by IIT Bombay, I don't remember the name of the test.
It was called SEED.
CEED, right? Yeah,
CEED.
Yeah, CED. So they were not eligible even to get the fellowship. So from this year, we have recognized this seed. Those who are they're entering in the master's program and they have qualified seed. So they are eligible to get 14,000 something what we are paying to the students per month as a scholarship also. But the thing is that the institute must be AICTE approved institution. So so we have taken, now we are evolving as far as design education is concerned. Whatever suggestions, if you want to give, you please give us. We are always eager to take such suggestions because as far as design is concerned, we are evolving ourselves. So we are taking help of the experts. You please send your suggestions to us. We will put these suggestions to our board. Even we can invite you and your experts to the board also as a special invitee. And you can give suggestions over there. So we are open to that. Whatever issues they are there, we are open to that. As far as eligibility for the faculty is concerned, definitely we will like to incorporate whatever suggestions they are coming from the design fraternity. We will definitely incorporate after having a deliberation on them. So we are open for that. Because as I earlier said, we are also evolving as far as design is concerned, right? So AICTE was giving approval since 84 to all technical programs.
Correct.
But design was included 4 years, 5 years back.
Correct.
Right?
Hello, my name is Jamshed Bharucha, and I returned from decades in the US because I saw that this was a very exciting time in India for higher education. And I'm delighted to see these panels. I think this is probably the most exciting time in terms of innovation in Indian higher education since the ancient times that were cited before. And with such a large young population, India's youth, I think the key is for us to make sure that they have access to contemporary standards and forms of education. So I came back. Initially, I was recruited to help start a new campus of SRM University in Andhra Pradesh, Amravati, which was supposed to be the new capital of Andhra Pradesh. And we built that. And then I was recruited to start a new university in Chennai called Sai University. And our vision is to be liberal arts, sciences, and technology. You're all familiar with the term liberal arts, but in India, liberal arts tends to be associated with the arts, whereas it actually should involve the sciences as well. So some institutions are calling them liberal arts and sciences. But we also want to bring in computer science and data science in a big way, because computer science and data science are linked to almost every field and activity that you can think of. There is no field, including the arts, including music and film, including the humanities, including the social sciences, economics, sociology, and so on, and of course the sciences. There is no field and no activity in life and in policy that is not going to involve data. And so we thought we could provide an opportunity for students to study computer science and data science, but within an ecosystem that is highly interdisciplinary. So for example, a student who's interested in music but wants to major in computer science, well, the music you listen to now is all digital, okay? Why should we take from Apple and so on? You know, why shouldn't we have people in India who are doing the next level of innovation? The movies you watch, the video you watch is all digital. And the same is true in the social sciences. Public health will be a big data issue now with the pandemic. So we have obviously programs in BA and BSc in all the subjects, but we've also started a BTech in computing and data science. And we want those students, obviously they'll get the technical side, and we've brought in world leaders into our international board. The chairman of the computer science department at Stanford, Professor John Mitchell, has joined us. And we have the former chair of the National Science Board in the United States, Diane Swain, which oversees the National Science Foundation. So we have a very, very strong international group trying to help us. And we certainly would like to have the support of the AICTE in this new way of thinking. Typically, if somebody wants to get a BTech in computer science or data science, they have to go to an engineering college. But we've been encouraged by the new education policy to have a much broader palette where students can mix and match different kinds of subjects and mix the technical subjects with the arts, humanities, and sciences. So, sir, I'd like to hear your thoughts about that.
Professor, I will like to share that what you was telling, that this is the main idea of AICT, and the NEP gives this opportunity to all of us. Now, our aim is that we have defined, every university can define some credits. We have defined some model credits, say 160 credits. We want that a student need to have a degree in engineering. He or she should qualify 160 credits, right? Now, in 160 credits, if we say that 30% or 40% credit, whatsoever is decided by the expert, they are basically should be from the core area, and the remaining credits student can earn from any of the things of his interest. So this freedom, we are also, this is what you are talking about. He can do music also, he can get a degree in data science also. So all such things, they are possible, and this is where we are working, and this freedom NEP gives to all of us.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Rajiv ji. First of all, I have to congratulate you. I have seen AICTE evolve from, apologies for these words, from a pan-chewing organization to a cutting-edge organization in the last 15 years. I remember my first interaction with someone in AICTE Chandigarh. It was an experience where I thought I should not get into education, but you have really transformed. So we'll do a big round of applause for AICTE. So you're doing some amazing work, sir. I'll just give a 1-minute introduction to my university and the work that I do. My name is Atul Khosla. I am the founder and vice chancellor of Shulini University. We're located in Solan, Kasoli. We're very proud of what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring research and innovation into higher ed, and that's really been sort of the genes of Shulini, and we've done it across pretty much every multidisciplinary area that we operate in. As we speak, I'm very proud to say that we have the highest citation per publication of any institution in India. We've moved up the ranks in our top 100 NRF university. We just hit the top 250 in QS in Asia. And it's all happened because of our undiluted focus on research. So I think an area that I'd like to point out for all of us to look at is how do you bring real research into undergraduate education? So we started this journey around 5 years back. We created a program called the Summit Research Program, where we said, let the students get real research exposure and experience. And I'm very happy to say, sir, that this first small batch of 20 students today that just graduated, they've all written at least 2 to 3 high impact Scopus indexed research papers. And when I say high impact, I'm talking about impact factor 5 and above. All of them would have had 3 to 4 patents on the name. And with that background, they're all now doing some amazing work. Most of them have gone to top universities of the world to study, or they've decided to join the corporate. I think this is an area which is not well done in India. And I would request AICT to bring this mandate onto institutions, which is research in undergrad. And I know NAP speaks about it, but we just need to push this a little more. And with due respect to my dear friend Rajat over here, I can only give you my one experience. When I joined IIT Kanpur as an undergrad, I thought I'll win the Nobel Prize. We all had that dream, right, sir? And I remember going into a lab which was a wind tunnel. A wind tunnel is a place where they do experiments on drag and resistance of aeroplanes and cars. And there was a particular professor there, and I said, I want to do some experiments in your lab. I was in the first semester, sir. And he pretty much kicked me out saying, come when you're doing your PhD. And I still remember that. And that day I decided I will not do research, I'll do an MBA. So I unfortunately ended up doing an MBA. So, but I think these are type of experiences that students have all the time, where they have that curiosity. I remember this debate that used to happen at IIT Kanpur. Our professors would say, you know, when they come to the institute, they have sparkling eyes, they are so excited. And we do something to them, and you know, by the third year, they are with droopy shoulders, that excitement goes away. We need to continue that excitement with the students so that, you know, they can push the frontiers of ideas, because a 19-year-old has way more ideas than, let's say, a 40-year-old professor who's probably spent a lifetime doing research in a particular area. So can we bring that research into undergrad? I think is something which you can pick up, sir. We'll be happy to share our experiences. I think the second area which I'll request is, while AICT is very liberal, I would say, in its approach, and you've done an amazing job, there are still certain regulators which can be stifling. You have a model curriculum, for example. Now, I also have a state regulator. Now, they perceive the model curriculum as the defined curriculum, and they try to push that on us. So I think that clarity from AICT to different regulators to say that, look, this is a model. This is our perception of what a good curriculum could look like, and we give the freedom to universities to come up with their version of that. So I think if you can bring the transparency to state regulators, to PCI, BCI, and other regulators which are more, I would say, constrained, I think that'll go a long, long way. I'd love to hear your comments on it, sir.
You rightly said, we never said that is a curriculum to be adopted by the university. We never said. Aapko Rajesh ji pata hoga na, we never said it. And this is a model curriculum. When we are saying that it is a model curriculum, that means you can choose whatever is good is there, you can take, but you can make changes as per your expertise and requirement in the curriculum. And not only you're saying, we are writing to the institutions also. It is a model curriculum, not a binding on the institution, but we expect that they should take the best things of happening in and around or in the world also in their curriculum. They should be the part of the curriculum. So that is the only motive.
So मेरा एक आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है सर, आप एक रेगुलेटर्स की ट्रेनिंग भी करवाइए AICT की तरफ से, जहाँ पे आप अपने विचार उनको बताइए.
I think जब ये NEP पूरी तरीके से implement होगा, जो आपका जो multiple regulators है, ये वाला जो problem है, I think that will be get resolved. So I think by next 1 year, you are not, after that you are not going to face that problem.
What Amit said, is actually a very serious problem, because what actually descends from the top and when it comes down to the field, you know, there is like lot of difference that happens in understanding. I remember, you know, when we were designing this curriculum for AI and data science program, model curriculum for AICT, and you know, like in model curriculum, there are certain things which are compulsory courses everybody has to do. There's departmental specific or trade specific compulsory courses. Then there is something known as electives, professional electives, and then open electives, and then liberal art courses and all that. Okay, and when we were designing this, so we actually left out, you know, professional electives. We left out open electives because these are the electives that on the basis of ground reality, one has to actually offer. Right? So we left it out. And we sent it. And then we actually got, even from AICT, the people who were handling this, we got this thing saying, you please fill out these. I said, how can I fill out these? You know, these are, and then we had to actually talk to, AICT chairman and Rajiv and all that. You know, this doesn't fit into the philosophy of electives. And then it occurred to me that electives, when we say talk of electives, from whose perspective these are electives? In my opinion, these are electives from the perspective of the students, that students should be able to take any of these things. Okay? And these should equally be, from the faculty perspective, there should be electives. Depending on what expertise is available, they will offer those courses. But in most cases, it is taken as, these are the electives from the college perspective. They will choose out of 10, 3 courses, and these 3 courses have to be taken by all students. And there are other and also, where they say, okay, college will not offer these courses, and these students can do these 3 courses from SWAYAM platform. Okay? Both, in my opinion, are extremes, and education doesn't build on extremes. Okay? That is the problem that one has to look at, from the implementation side, both from university, from regulators, from model curriculum, from everywhere. The philosophy has to be understood that this is not about extremes, but about flexibility in the program. Thank you.
My opinion is that even giving the model curriculum should not be the job of the AICT. It should be the university prerogative. They should have this freedom that they should have the best curriculum. That is the need of the industry, or that is the need of the, that is at par with the international standard. Because our students, they are going, they are not only staying in India, they are going abroad also, most of them. So, but because universities, they are not doing, you will be surprised to know when we came out the model curriculum in 2018, sir. When I joined AICT, we worked hard with help of the experts. Most of the universities in the world, in the country, they have not changed their curriculum from the last 15 years. Immediately they adopted that, sir, हमने adopt कर लिया पूरा. हमने कहा पूरा नहीं करना है. You have to modify the things as per your need also, as per your expertise also. But everything cannot be defined or it cannot be done at the top. So, अगर सब चीज़ top से होंगी तो NEP भी कहती है कि you will have similar type of engineer. अगर एक ही curriculum होगा, then you will have the similar type of engineer having similar type of skills. So that is not the requirement of the country. So this is the problem here.
मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ सर. When I started working on engineering education, तो उस वक्त the belief was कि बच्चों को जितना ज़्यादा पढ़ाओगे उतना ज़्यादा वो better engineer बनेंगे. तो my dean came up with a curriculum of 4 years with 230 credits. मैंने उनको बोला 230 में तो बेचारा बच्चा मर जाएगा. तो कहते नहीं, तो वो मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग का डिग्री कैसे कर सकता है बिना 230 के. सो आई एम सो थैंकफुल कि आपने उसको 160 कर दिया है, क्योंकि अब मैं उनके पास गया, मतलब देखो AICT भी यही कह रहा है. सो थैंकफुल फॉर कमिंग अप विद अ वंडरफुल मॉडल करिकुलम.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Professor A.K. Bakshi. I am presently Vice Chancellor, PDM University, Haryana. I have been earlier Executive Director of Tertiary Education Commission in Mauritius. And I have also been the Vice Chancellor of Rajrishi Tandon Open University, Allahabad. I am basically a Professor of Chemistry from Delhi University. And I really would like to congratulate Professor Rajiv Kumar ji for their very outstanding presentation. As a matter of fact, I've been associated with many activities of AICT, including the NEET scheme, where the focus is mainly on the use of artificial intelligence to customize the learning. So it has been a great initiative. But, I'm basically from sciences, as I said. But there are some of my concerns regarding the higher education scenario in the country. We are talking about curriculum. My feeling is our students are of 21st century, but our curriculum or what we teach is generally of 19th or 20th century. This is one problem. Second problem is that the teaching, learning pedagogies or methods of teaching, they are also outdated. We still continue to follow talk and chalk method. If we look at our system of assessment, that is also outdated. So, there is a sort of misfit between what the students need and what we teach. We have to change on all these fronts. Knowledge in all disciplines is growing very, very fast. There was a time when knowledge was getting doubled in almost 150 years. But now we have reached the time where knowledge is getting doubled almost in about 40 days. So are we able to change our curriculum accordingly or not? That is the first point. We need to really work on that. Second point which I feel is, besides curriculum, is the teaching learning methodologies. We still continue to follow talk and chalk method. This is a method of teaching which presumes that all students learn in identical fashion. This is not true. There may be some fast learners, some slow learners. But now new teaching methodologies have come. We need to embrace them. Flipped classroom model is becoming very, very popular all over the world. And then, as Professor Rajiv Ji also was mentioning about Bloom's taxonomy, we need to take care of Bloom's taxonomy in our teaching. Unfortunately, in our classroom, we still focus on lower order thinking skills. That is knowledge, understanding, and applications. Whereas Bloom's taxonomy takes us beyond understanding to analysis, evaluation, and at the top comes creativity. We never take our students to that. So, this is a very serious drawback in our education system. We need to follow the methods of teaching which encourage higher order thinking skills. As a matter of fact, I feel, and I wrote in one article in Times of India, that there is a crisis of creativity in Indian education system. The purpose of education is not to pass the examination and come out with very high marks. That's not the purpose of education. We need to have creative minds. Look at the fact, it may look odd to say at this stage, but I would just mention, no Indian scientist working in India has been able to get a Nobel Prize after 1930. Almost 90 years have passed. C.V. Raman was the person who got it. After that, few got, but then they were non-resident Indians. So one needs to really work on this as to where the problem is. We say that in our research, we are the third largest producer of scientific research papers. But if we go by the impact factor and, citation, we stand nowhere. So quality aspect is missing. And the main problem, I know that AICT is presently revising various books, and one of my colleagues has been associated with the chemistry books. The main problem is we need to follow new methods of teaching. We need to focus on higher order thinking skills. Only then we will be able to change the quality of education. And in my opinion, last point which I want to say is, whatsoever policies we may say, even look at the new education policy. It says that we need to shift the focus of teaching from rote learning to creativity, critical thinking, etc. On paper, it looks very impressive. But at micro level, who is to deliver all this? It is the teacher. Until and unless we train our teachers for that, I personally feel we will not be able to achieve much. Because most of the teachers in education system, as it was mentioned, are 15 years, 20 years, or 30 years old teaching, in higher education institutions. Without their professional training, without exposure to all these changes, I don't think we will be able to achieve that. So I'm very happy that AICT is doing a lot in respect of the professional development of the teachers, but it needs to be done at a higher level. And then lastly, we also need to improve our, system of assessment. The way we assess our students. Because assessment drives learning. The way you will assess your students will start learning in that way. So the question is,
I think
who
I will
will
have to
do-
interrupt here. Next
Okay.
session speakers are waiting here.
okay.
So I think
that's basically what I want to
yes.
say, that we need to improve on all these fronts also. Thank you very much.
Great inputs. And I will request Professor Rajiv Kumar to give his remarks on all the feedbacks like you have got. I think we had some excellent discussion here. So your inputs, and we will then close the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ravi. The suggestions gave by honorable panelists, yes, definitely all are relevant in today's time, and we have started doing work. And I hope, Bakshi ji, as you are saying that outcome of such things like it takes time. Education is one thing that if you get input, that outcomes takes some time. Definitely change has started. A energy has been created, atmosphere has been created in the country, in the academic arena, as well as in the industry. And in time to come, we will be able to achieve our milestones, and our students will be able to get in a, although in IT sector we are at the top, but on other sectors also, we will be producing the best of the engineers of the country. This is, I can see from here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all the esteemed panelists for this wonderful and impromptu discussion. And may I request our CEO and Dr. Ravi Gupta to please come and present mementos to all our esteemed panelists here. Professor Rajiv Kumar, Member Secretary, All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE. May we request all our panelists to come forward? Yeah, sorry. My apologies. Professor Atul Khosla, Founder and Vice Chancellor, Shulin University, Solan. Professor Rajat Muna, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, Bhilai. Professor Sanjay Gupta, if you could please come forward. Yes. Mr. Bharucha, please, if you can come forward.